When we continue, in 1974, a cosmic greeting card of another kind comes out, and this one gets a response. Scientists can only say, wow. The year is 1974. Fringe UFO researchers announce that they have evidence that the Air Force is holding 12 alien bodies at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. It sets off a debate that will continue for many years to come. Science fiction images of alien life created in the 50s are reinforced in TV shows and movies. And the sale of sci-fi books keeps pace with classic literature. And unbeknownst to nearly everyone, a real scientist, Frank Drake, is sitting in his new observatory in Puerto Rico trying to make contact.
In 1974, we sent a 3-minute message from the Arecibo Observatory. It consisted of 1,679 characters.
It's a kind of cosmic music that will one day become part of pop culture, influencing the movie classic, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But in 1974, it's cutting edge.
And what it does, when properly decoded, is create a picture which starts with a number system that then shows the chemistry of the DNA molecule, the basic molecule of life on Earth. There's a crude sketch of a human being to show what we look like. We're a primate, that's about all you can tell. And then below that, there's a sketch of a telescope focusing rays to a point with its size given. And it's the size of the telescope that sent the message, the Arecibo telescope, which not only tells what telescope sent the message, but gives a measure of how advanced our technology is, because it is our largest telescope.
3 years after the message is sent into space, there is a response. At the Ohio State University Radio Observatory, Jerry Eman is at the controls of a radio receiver called the Big Ear, one of the listening devices in the government's SETI network.
I had the task to look at the computer printouts to see if there was anything interesting. Anything 4 or above was definitely unusual. Well, this was the equivalent of 30, and so it was so strong, 5 to 6 times stronger than I had seen any signal in the past, that I was astonished and immediately wrote the word "wow!" exclamation point in the margin of the computer printout.
Within a series of random numbers, the computer had kicked out a strange series of letters. What did 6EQUJ5 mean?
It was probably interference of one sort or another, but it was, you know, the kind of interference that mimics a real signal. I mean, nobody knows what it was. I mean, you have to admit that. But seeing a signal once is not good enough. It'd be like my neighbor seeing a ghost in his attic once, and every time we went back to his attic, it was never a ghost again. Well, unfortunately, that just doesn't prove the existence of ghosts.
SETI keeps looking, and through the 1980s, scientists are on a roll. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence has gradually encouraged a worldwide web of scientific interest and support. SETI becomes a line item in the NASA budget, and its federal funding rises from just a few $100,000 in the early 1970s to over $10 million in the early 1990s. Then, on October 12, 1992, ironically the 500th anniversary of Columbus's discovery of the New World, Congress downsizes the SETI program and within a year pulls the plug. After more than 15 years and $60 million in research and development, SETI is dead.
All these resources potentially wasted. It was a great embarrassment to the American Congress and in fact to our country. And indeed, in the rest of the world, people shake their heads every time they hear about it. How could the Americans, who are so sophisticated in science and technology, have done something so dumb?
This was not a good thing for the government to do. I think that the American people were behind such a search and still are behind such a search, and that the amount of money that was being spent on that was for such a grave question, for such an important question, for a question that bears on our place in the universe, really was worthwhile.
So SETI goes private and goes begging. In 1993, it becomes the non-profit SETI Institute in Mountain View, California. Bill Hewlett and David Packard of computer fame provide the seed money. Gordon Moore, a co-founder of Intel, and Paul Allen, a co-founder of Microsoft, each write million-dollar checks. The Institute launches Project Phoenix because SETI has indeed risen from the ashes.
I think the knowledge that we share the universe with other intelligent creatures will change our view profoundly, but it may not happen overnight. We're definitely trying to pursue the search for extraterrestrial intelligence the way that you would pursue any other scientific exploration, and to do it credibly.
And where is science fiction? Carl Sagan uses Dr. Tarter as a model for the astronomer in his book Contact, which later inspires a movie that stars Jodie Foster. In the movie, astronomers receive and decode a signal from an extraterrestrial intelligence far beyond our galaxy. Real life may not be far behind at SETI's new listening post, Frank Drake's old stomping ground, the Arecibo Radio Telescope.
The most fun part of my job is actually when I get to go to the observatory. Arecibo is a very special and unique observatory. The scale of the facility is something that's really hard to appreciate from videos or seen at a distance. You have to stand there. You have to be underneath the thing or 500 feet up in the air on top of it to understand how big and mammoth this is. And then when you're there and this piece of listening equipment is there, nothing else matters.
Computers at Arecibo continuously scan millions of radio frequencies looking for that peripatetic signal emanating from deep space. Tarter was at a computer terminal there one night in 1998 with SETI astronomer Seth Shostak when they think they may have found it.
We got a signal that for a while looked quite interesting. Both Jill Tarter and I, we weren't saying much, but we were paying very, very close attention to what was happening.
When you pass the first layer of filtering, oh well, that's happened before. But by the time you pass the second layer of filtering, that hasn't happened very often. And you really do get intrigued.
It certainly occurs to you that, well, what if this is the big one, you know? Because you're not expecting the big one at that particular moment. You'll never be expecting the big one when it happens, of course. And that gives you a certain amount of pause. You wonder, well, how am I going to react to this? I mean, what if this is it? What am I going to do next? It's a little unsettling.
I don't know if I have so much the, my God, it's me feeling as a reconfirmation that it really could happen. Unfortunately, in each case, it's turned out to be something particularly complex about our own technology that's fooled us.
But no one's giving up yet. SETI has optimistically established a series of protocols if ET ever phones home.